Hello everyone, my name is Ricardo. Today in this video, I'm going to show you how to create a basic layout, a web page layout with a grid. I'm also going to show you how to create the grid. So let's get to it. I use the grid calculator.dk. I have it pretty much set to what I need here. So I'm not going to play around with any of these values, but I'm going to explain them they are a little bit. The maximum width of my page is going to be 1140. My gutter, that's the space between the columns, is going to be 20 pixels. I'm going to have a total of 12 columns, and the margins, what this application calls the margins, which you can see are highlighted, are the paddings on the both sides of the margin of the grid. Sorry. All right, so I'm not going to use any of these Illustrator or Photoshop specific files. I'm just going to go ahead and download a PNG image. And I'm going to save it here in my project folder. I don't need to create an images folder or anything because this is just mainly for the video. So I'm going to do grid. For good practice, I'm going to name it 12 columns. And I'm going to save. All right, I'm going to go back to Affinity Designer. I'm going to be using Affinity Designer to build a grid and a layout. But what you're going to see is something that you can do in any other application that you use to create your wireframes or designs. Either Photoshop, Illustrator, Affinity Photo, Sketch, you name it. There's plenty of applications out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the image that I have in my project. So it's going to be here. So I'm going to just go ahead and, I'm not going to drag and drop it just yet. I'm going to create a new document. So my new document is going to be 1400 pixels wide, and the page height is anything we want at this point. I need something large, something long. So I'm just going to leave it at 1200. DPI is always going to be 72 to what we need here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just drag and drop that grid PNG that I just downloaded. I just drop it there. I'm just going to drop wherever. I'm going to go ahead and align that to the center of my container. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the file, that the image is the exact dimensions that I was told there was going to be on the grid, which is going to be 1136 pixels. And if I go here, I can see that the image is correctly 1136 pixels. So I'm good with that. All right, now I'm going to zoom into 100%, and this is the actual with one-to-one to what it's going to look with once this design or wireframe or layout, whatever you want to call it, is in the browser. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a few guides, add a few guides here and a few guides here. And then I'm going to just go ahead and create a couple of new guides on this side. And I'm going to create another one here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate this grid real fast in vectors, so I can snap things the way I want them to. So I'm going to just move that here, and then I'm going to give this another color. It doesn't really matter what color it is. And now I'm going to duplicate that. Oops. Go back. Duplicate this here. All right. Let me go ahead and actually make sure it's tight in there. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to go ahead and take these and I'm going to put them here. Just want to make sure they're lining up correctly. I'm going to take these 4 now and I'm going to move them over here. And as you can see, I'm getting the grid the way I want it. Okay, seems like I'm a little off here. Go ahead and check. I'll select these here. I'm going to zoom in over here. I'm going to bring it in. And finally, I need a 20 pixel block right here, which is the gutter. I'm going to make sure everything is aligned, and I'm going to select, and I'm going to make sure in my transform panel, however it is in the application you're using, it says 1136. Okay, we're good. So basically, we don't need this one in the back anymore. The reason we want to do this is because in my application in Affinity Designer, I can objects snap to other objects. If you don't have that in yours, it doesn't matter. It's just that it's easier in the long run to have native elements from what you're creating your layout, instead of having an image and a bunch of guidelines that are or rulers that are a little, not rulers, guides that can be a little overwhelm your work a little bit. So with that being said, that is the grid. What I always do is I leave the guides on the margins to the side of each grid, because I don't always use a 1140 grid, or in this case 1136 grid, width grid. So now I can just create, I can just resize as I need. In my case, it's going to be that big. It doesn't really matter at this point. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the opacity down a little, so it doesn't interfere with my layout. Okay, so that's the grid. Now, if you made a sketch of your design, then this is the moment where that sketch needs to be translated into an actual design or comp in the computer. Regardless if it's the best practice or a recommended practice today, that's not the point right now of the video. So let's say our logo is going to be located here. So in my case, as you can see, the logo, the object is already snapping to another object without having to deal with guides. If your application does that, that's great. If not, you just add a guide and let it snap to that guide. Okay, so the logo is going to go here. I'm not going to do a square. Let's say I'm going to do a circle. And my logo is going to be about 3 columns wide. Okay, it doesn't have to be 3 columns, but this is just for the sake of the demo right now. So my logo is going to be about 3 columns wide. If you really want to get into the specifics of very detailed into centering, then you're going to go ahead and create an element that occupies both all 3 columns, and then you center that circle according to that. And this is not needed. Let's see what else. So okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save this, and this is going to be right here in Design a Grid. So this is going to be my example demo grid, and I'm going to do that. So that's going to be that's just where my logo is. Let's say I'm going to I have 4 links for my navigation. At this point, I have a total of 9 columns, but more than 9 columns is just basically that I have this available space for the links. So if I'm going to type link 1, for example, I know that my default font is going to be 16 pixels for my paragraphs. So maybe without going into a modular scale for fonts and all that, I'm just going to go ahead and create 18 pixels are going to be my links. Let's say each of these links is going to have, for example, a block like this. So I'm going to move it back a little. Maybe it's a little too big right now, but that's part of the work we're going to be doing here. Let's let's say I'm going to change the color of that box. I'm going to zoom in here a little. And then I'm going to go ahead and do this. All right. Okay, so I have, let me go ahead and block that guy right here. Okay, lock it. It's locked. You can see the lock here. Just know the command on my keyboard. Okay, that's link one. It's going to be white. And then I'm going to go ahead and group that. I'm going to say, I'm going to copy. Actually, I don't have to copy it. I'm just going to do that. And I'm going to replicate that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so I have 9 columns that I can play with at this point. It doesn't matter if it matches all the way to the edge or not. I just have the available space. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and distribute these links accordingly on that space. And that's where my navigation is going to go. If I wanted to center, then all I need to do is sometimes it picks up the center of the object. But if not, I just select the 2 objects and I'm going to center them. I'm using my keyboard shortcuts to get things done faster. So although the links are not aligning specifically to a column, that doesn't matter because the whole box is aligned. It's just is made of 9 columns in total, plus 3 for the logo is going to be 12. So let's say I have a hero image here. So I do have a hero that I'm going to use in a minute for this composition. So let's say the hero image goes here. I don't know at this point how tall it's going to be. That depends on a little bit on the image that I have, but I do know that it's going to be as wide as the page. So for now, I'm just going to use this box as a reference. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to bring a high res image. And this thing is massive, so I'm going to go ahead and shrink that down a little. All right. All right. So it's going to be as wide as that. Let me go ahead and put it inside the container. So I'm going to go ahead and mask it. For some reason, I don't know why it's not working. So let's see if it works there. Okay. Okay, so it's going to be the best thing is going to be, I'm going to just go ahead and crop it here. And I'm going to crop it here. I'm going to eyeball the thing for now. I'm going to leave that. I don't want to chop the wheels. I want a little bit of the car to see where it stands. Okay, that'll work. So I have my hero image there. No image treatment yet because I'm just doing a composition. And so that's going to be my hero image. If I'm going to have some text in it, then this is just temporary text. But I know that I'm going to do something like 35 and change it to black so we can see something. So this is going to be my hero text. Let's do hero text with awesome phrase for my marketing plan. All right. Okay, so this is all temporary stuff. I'm just showing you how to lay out elements on a grid. All right, so that's that. Then let's say I'm going to have, I'm going to need a little bit more space. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to extend my artboard a little bit longer. Now I'm going to need to probably extend that grid. So I'm going to go ahead and unlock it. And I'm just going to go ahead and do this. And I'm going to lock it again. Then I'm going to have, let's say I'm going to have 6 containers. So it depends on your content architecture, how the size of those 6 containers are. for the sake of using the grid, we're just going to distribute the 6 containers in 2 rows of 3 columns each. So each container is going to be 4 columns wide. So that's 1. It's going to be 2. I can go ahead and center that, and it should match. Yep, it matches. And then I'm just going to go ahead and copy that guy over here. And I'm just going to line it up to the right. And okay, so let's see. Oh, I'm a little off there. Okay, cool. All right, so now that I have those containers, what I'm going to do is, those are basically, actually, those are not needed. So I'm going to go ahead and delete them. What I need is the division. Well, maybe I do need it real fast. Just to put the guides here. And then right here, I'm going to delete those boxes now because my layout does not contain boxes like that. All right, so now that I have the 3 columns, I'm going to go ahead and create some headings for my text. So it's going to be heading A and the heading A. It depends on what you want to do with your layout. If you want to center those, that's fine. If not, I'm just going to go ahead and just left justify. Those headings, I'm going to be saying they're 24 pixels. On the scheme of things, they're might be pretty small by 1136 width container. So I'm just going to bump them up to 30. Oops, 30. And then I'm going to create a module with a paragraph. Maybe include a placeholder of an image here. So my image is going to be something like this. It's going to go side all the way across 4 columns. And then I'm going to go to a lorem ipsum generator and lipsum.com. Okay, cool. And so I'm going to go ahead and take this guy right here. Actually, I don't need the whole thing. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this part. Then I'm going to go here and create a paragraph text. And I'm going to paste it there. Okay. The font size should be, that's not really necessary, but 16 pixels is a common font size for paragraphs on the web. If you want to bump it up to 18 or whatever it is that you want to do, that's fine. I'm just going to stick with a norm of 16 pixels. Then I'm going to go ahead and increase the line height to 24 pixels, which is equals 1.5 in CSS. And I'm just going to leave that there. Okay, so I have the module. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that module over to my following column. I want to make sure the column aligns correctly. The heading is a little off, so I'm just going to move it in visually. This is not an exact science. Unless you're going into CSS and HTML, you need to be really, really specific. All right, so there you go. So we have heading A, B, and C. All right, so that's that. Now, this container does not necessarily have to have a an image there. I can just add another paragraph if that's what I want. What I'm trying to say is that the layout of the module inside those columns doesn't necessarily have to be the same if your design doesn't work that way. Okay, now that I have that, I'm going to create another box, another selection here, and I'm going to replicate this. So this is going to be heading C, heading D, heading E, and let's say I'm going to add an ad on this side. The ad is going to be about some like this. I don't know what the ad's going to be, but this is the area where the ad's going to go. Then let's see. So okay, so we have a navigation, we have a logo, we have a hero area, which are common type of content types for a website these days. We have a lot of information here. We have an ad that goes here, and then I guess we finally create the footer. So I'm just gonna go ahead and create just a line. This is something I do a lot. And then I'm gonna add my copyright. I'm gonna type some text so I can play with the font a little. I'm gonna bump it up to 18. So to copyright, the copyright ASCII, I don't know, let's see if I can I do this in Google all the time, and one of these has it, and I just copy it. There you go. So I don't have to memorize any copyright. 2017, I don't even know if that's the case because I haven't copyrighted anything, but I guess we all do that, right? Maybe 18 is too much. So I'm going to turn it down to 12, maybe 14. That would be my minimum for now. Copyright, and so that's that. And then I'm going to do, let's say, I put my name. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create another pattern that is very common is repeating your navigation right here. So we're going to do link 1, and I'm going to do, let's see. Why it's not working? Oh, okay, hold on. So link 1. And I'm just going to copy that. Boom, boom, boom. And 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. I'm going to move those over here a little. Maybe I can add a contact. Oops, my name went away. Josea. And then I can probably add my email here. So it's going to be me@me.me. And if I want to simulate that this is a link, then I'll just do the underline. Same thing goes for example, well, in case underline headers is something you can do if they are links. You don't have to, but anyway, that's just part of the design, which is not part of the scope of the video now. So there you go. Now you will turn off the grid. Let's hide the guides. I'm going to shorten up and there is a layout of basic web page using a grid. You can see everything has a defined harmonious width, and everything aligns correctly. Again, these links are not tied to columns or these elements here. They are tied to the space that 9 columns occupy. So they just distributed along that space. And so there it is. If you have any questions, comments, you can let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much.